Okay, so what I'd really like to talk about here today is the hard drive of life. A lot of therapists, hypnotherapists, a lot of people doing regression struggle when it comes to finding out what we would call an ISC, which would be initial sensitizing event. Okay, but I truly believe that we've developed a process here that will make it very, very easy for people to find out the answer to these questions really, really quickly in the clinic. So what I'd like you to imagine for me is that this represents the subconscious mind. And basically what we're looking at is a hard drive, just like on a computer. Okay, so we all understand what the hard drive is. Okay, perfect. It records information, and the computer must act based on the information stored on it. Okay, and we're no different ourselves. Okay, so your subconscious mind is where all the emotions come from, all the feelings, all the habits, all your beliefs, long-term memory, the most important for everybody, protector. Okay, so based on the components of the subconscious mind, it's very, very important and interesting to understand this bit, that the first 7 years of our life, basically called the imprint stage, it's the blueprint of who we're going to be in the future. So if we put the number 7 there, which represents this box. Okay? And this is the age you are today. So from the day you're born to your current age, you've recorded 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of data. Okay? And again, if you look back before the first 7 years, this is a time where there's no conscious mind, there's no conscious involvement, there's no rational thinking. We're purely emotions, feelings, but most of all, protection. So I'm going to show you how our protector protects us in a good way, first of all. So if you imagine a 3-year-old burns his finger off a fireplace, a tree. Well, the subconscious mind takes that as a dangerous situation that you need to be protecting yourself from in the future. Does that make sense? Okay. So say the child gets a big fright, and what the subconscious mind says is, well, the anxiety and the panic I produced in that situation, I'm going to use that in the future if ever that 3-year-old in the future is in a similar situation. Does that make sense? So let's say the 3-year-old is now 10, and he's out in the garden shed, he's playing with matches, and he's messing, and the curtains go up on fire. So the moment he realises he's not in control of the situation, the panic he felt at 3 is now reproduced at 10. It's bridged from 3 to 10. Does that make sense? Okay. Imagine now at 20 years of age, he's at home, he's making chips, and the chip pan goes off fire in the kitchen. But the panic he felt at 3 and 10 is now reproduced at 20. And so on. Now, each and every one of us in this room have this. We've all had an experience where we burnt our fingers. And we all have that fear of fire. Now, when we're in control of it, when we're lighting a lighter, we're fine. But if, something in the bin catches fire, a piece of coal falls out on the floor, we all jump around, we don't know what to do. Picking up the shovel, we're sort of very uncomfortable with the situation. Because to our subconscious mind, we are in a situation where we're not in control. Okay, I think we've all experienced that situation. Okay. Well then, let's look at how the subconscious mind protects us in a different way. Say a 3-year-old is going down the stairs, and next of all, halfway down, falls and trips and goes down the bottom of the stairs. The moment of realization that they've lost control, panic is produced. Just like the fire, no different. So let's say the 3-year-old there in that situation of not being in control, the moment of realization, I'm about to fall, I might die, the panic is produced. So what the subconscious does is, it uses that information, it stores it to protect the person in the future whenever they're in similar situations where they may not be in control. So let's say the 3-year-old is now 25, and they're on their first airplane flight, they're going to Spain, and there's bad weather, there's turbulence, the plane starts dropping 20, 30 feet. So the moment the environment changes, in the perception of the child that they're not in control, how they panicked at 3 is now brought to 25 to show them how to react. Yeah? You okay with that? Okay. So let's say, it doesn't happen again until they're 27, but this time they go swimming. They think they jump in the shallow end, they actually go into the deep end. They go to put their foot on the bottom, it's not there. So the moment they're in that same situation of not being in control, the panic is reproduced. And reproduced, and reproduced. Okay? So when you're doing an intake with a client, when you produce this, when you educate your client, they'll actually turn around at this stage. When you say to them, does that make sense? Everybody will go yes. And say, look, if you think back to before you were 7, what sort of situations were you in where you weren't on control? The very odd time you might go, nothing. It's very, very rare, but you'd question that, you wouldn't move on. But most people go, well, I'm not sure, but I know my father was supposed to pick me up from school one day when I was 5 and he didn't come for 20 minutes. So for those 20 minutes, I was having a panic attack. It could be, mum and dad driving down the town, a car crashed into the back of us. It could be my little brother locked me in a press. But what you're saying is, by educating your client by using this system, it gives them the ability to actually communicate with you and possibly give you the ISA you're looking for. 9 times out of 10, if you do this properly, you'll get the ISA before the session. So say, for instance, the lady says, yeah, well, that makes sense now, because when I was 3, I fell off a scooter and I broke my wrist and I was taken to the hospital and I was getting needles and held down. Well, there's the ISA, it's quite strong. So the regression session now becomes very easy. Now, we still would build the feeling, we still would regress back, but now we have not only the ISA, but we possibly have another 4 or 5 events they've told us before the session, which are like SSEs. So I really feel that this makes regression obtainable and easy to do for virtually all therapists out there, where the biggest problem with regression was in the past, failing to build the feeling properly, failing to build the right feeling, and failing to have the confidence to carry through the regression. But with this system here that we developed, I think it's going to make every therapist's dream